for this man.
Murder suspect Brian Nichols.
I want eyes in the sky. All choppers up now. Let's flush Nichols out.
My name is Ashley Smith. I'm a mother.
I don't trust you, Ashley. You scream again, and I will have to kill you.
Oh, that was a clip from the upcoming movie Captive, a film based on the incredible true story of a woman named Ashley Smith. In March 2005, a man who had just murdered 4 people, including 2 in open court, showed up at her door. That man, Brian Nichols, held Ashley hostage for some 7 hours. Incredibly, she managed to survive, bonding with her captor by reading him passages from a popular self-help book by Pastor Rick Warren. Despite chances to escape, Ashley says her faith told her that a higher power would intervene. There was another opportunity where he convinced you to help him hide the getaway car. He had stolen a car and killed it. I think that was the law enforcement officer's car. And he got you out of the apartment to help him hide it. Why didn't you run in those moments? What was it? Did you just, were you motivated by fear, or was it some knowledge that I'm going to get out of this?
I think looking back on it, even times when I read the book or watch the movie, even myself, I'm like, go girl, you know, you need to get out of there. You got a chance. But I think several things went through my mind at that point in time. Number one, my car was not, it wasn't a very good car. It had been breaking down on a very regular basis. And I think I feared that if I tried to get away, that it would immediately break down and I would be stuck.
It was too risky.
Also, you know, I really believe that God, once I chose not to do the drugs, God took control and he began to lead that night. And for me, I think I just kept saying, eventually he will let me go. If I let him get in the car and go back to my apartment, then he's not going to have a getaway car. He's going to be at my house all by himself at one point, and he'll be surrounded. And so I think those things were just going through my head.
The Ashley Smith who was there before that encounter, is she still with us?
I'm not in a spiritual warfare anymore. I'm not fighting that anymore. You know, the person that was there that night was still a human being. I think she is still here because that person was a sinner saved by God's grace. Today, I'm still just a sinner saved by God's grace. You know, that night, I laid down my brokenness to God and I gave it to him. That's what changed.
Oh. For Ashley, her faith was the key to saving her life. Compare that today with the saga of defiant Kentucky clerk Kim Davis, whose beliefs actually landed her behind bars. And while Davis is now back at work and with her family, her attorneys say that this case threatens the core of our country's founding principles. Matt Staver is an attorney for Kim Davis and the founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Matt, good to see you tonight. Of course, it was Kim Davis's actions based on her faith that landed her in jail. But you handle a lot of these cases. Do you see a noticeable erosion of respect for people following their genuinely held religious beliefs in this country?
Oh, I certainly do, especially in this case. I think it was very evident that there was a divide in the country, and that divide may even get worse. And sometimes it's governed by political ideology rather than principle. And if you're in favor of the issue that's at hand that the religious conviction is colliding with, then you're not in favor of the religious accommodation. And if you're opposed to it, then you're in favor of the accommodation. The fact of the matter is, it shouldn't be whether we're opposed or against to the issue that is confronting the person of faith. It should be, are we tolerant enough, big enough, and respectful enough to protect and at least try to accommodate a person's deeply held religious convictions?
There was an ABC News poll out today that shows 74% of Americans believe equality under the law should trump religious beliefs. However, those polls come down in large part to how the question is asked. There is a way of providing an accommodation for religious objectors that still honors the law. I just want to ask you this, Matt. People have painted her as a monster. We heard somebody literally call her a monster. Yeah. Why don't you tell the audience what Kim Davis has been doing since she's been back to work and what she did with the protesters who were protesting her?
Well, when she was there before she went to jail for 6 days during the hot Kentucky sun, she took water out to the protesters that were protesting against her to express her genuine concern for them. And when she came back, one of the first things that she did is she went to the deputy clerk that did issue the marriage licenses and that indicated that he would do so when she did return. And she went to him, hugged him, and said, "You don't know how much I love you." And that's Kim Davis. She is someone who loves people, because 4.5 years ago, like for the person that you've just featured, and it's an amazing story how her faith got her through this, 4.5 years ago, everything changed for Kim. And that's where her faith began, when she turned her life over to Jesus. And consequently, that just flows through her. And to know Kim Davis is to know a wonderful human being that I think everyone in this country should get a chance to know.
Matt Staver, thank you.